And I want to see if anybody is coming through. I just got through finishing up another video. So just doing things, creating things, and see if anybody's through. Hope everybody's had a pretty good day. We're going to see if anybody comes on the horn. I couldn't really put everything out like I wanted to. So just trying to see if anybody's on. I don't know what your weather is like. I hope everybody's staying nice and toasty. What's up, man? How you doing? What's up? What's up? Just got on. Just got on. Yeah, that's why I told you I wasn't 100% on our season. Can we beat Chicago? Yeah. But are we a real threat? No. Should have won that game last night. Don't have the tools to finish it. I know Terry Rozier, but you just don't get enough. The truth is that Bam and Tyler Hero do some damage, that could be something. Duncan Robinson, they got to come up, but they got to play cohesive ball. And I don't know how they're going to beat tomorrow. And I'm sure Chicago's going to come bring their A game tomorrow. I'm quite sure of it. I know Chicago is frustrated for what happened last year. And you already know Trae Young is on his way out. I saw that dunk last night by Murray. That was sick. But Trae's on his way out of Atlanta. So I know he's going to be LA bound. Somewhere he's going. He's going somewhere. So now his problem is that he just doesn't play team ball. He plays hero ball. That's his problem. They'd welcome him there, please. You must have forgot about Maynard Jackson and Julian Bond. They've had light-skinned people rep Atlanta big time. That's not his problem. He just doesn't play team ball, that's all. But he wasn't hired to play team ball. He was hired to be kind of like a mini Junior Whopper Steph Curry. That's what it was. You know. He's a Junior Whopper Steph, so that's what they got. Yeah, you already know. That's the word on the street. Because if D-Lo don't come up big, why you think D-Lo rose his game up? Because him and Austin Reeves are gone. They don't go too deep this year. They gone. One of them is gone regardless because I know that they want to build around AD. And they don't want one of them going, if not both. That's the word on the street. So I told you that. I heard that story about 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, because they should be. The only team that I think that deserves to go to the finals from the West, if Denver doesn't go, is Dallas. I agree. I agree. He should. You called it too. I'll give it to you. Well, yeah, they've disrespected him. They've disrespected him. He been disrespected. That would not only be sweet revenge, that would shut people up because people forgot how great he was. That would shut a lot of people up. A lot of people forgot how great he was. What's happening from Florida? How you doing, AG? How you doing? Good to see you. For what? Using for what? And do what with him? What they gonna do with him? He he goes and he spreads the floor. What's he gonna do? He's not gonna play with anyone with the handles in the same situation as Steph in the backcourt. That's gonna put the best of him. And at this stage, he'd just be a role player sidekick. What's he gonna do? I don't think he'd go to Orlando just to be shooting. Besides, one thing, if you following him right, the elephant in the room is his defense ain't the same no more. That's the elephant in the room. So I don't think it would really be worth his while. Well, he ain't gonna get all that. You gonna get one or the other, or you gonna have to go somewhere else. It's not gonna happen. Charles Barkley said it best the other night. He says he could take less money, but he's not getting no younger. He nailed it. He nailed it. That's just what it is. You know. I don't think so. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't think so. Because Tony Parker pulled that mess and went to Charlotte. And did you even notice he was with Charlotte? Played there for like a year or so, and it didn't amount to nothing. And you don't want to go out chasing a check when you've been a great player. If I'm Clay, I take a low grade payday. I stay in the Bay for 2 more years and I get out. I give him 2 more years. That's it. Because the sign's on the wall. You're not gonna get no kind of look when you went 0 for 10 in a game that you had to have, especially against a team that's emulating your style and you have no gun power. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Rasheed Wallace even touched on it. He had no gun power, no powder, nothing to shoot against Sacramento. I don't think so because there's no proof. There's no tie-in to it. You hope he is because that might help y'all out, and that's something what the NBA would like that, but that ain't gonna happen. Porter Jr.'s go and bust y'all butt and knock y'all butt out in 5 games. You would love it if it was, but it ain't gonna happen. I don't think he's in no trouble. I ain't heard nothing about him being in no trouble. You hope he's distracted, but he won't be. Go lighten y'all butt up. Put 28 on y'all butt every night. and play some defense on you. Yeah, I know that. I did a video about it today. And I got mixed emotions about it because on one hand, I understand the so-called principles involved. However, the agenda is being pushed. They got all kinds of gambling. And I don't really want to hear nothing about it because I did recall somebody from Clutch Sports named Maverick Carter who had a gambling problem, but we ain't gonna talk about that, is we? We're gonna talk about Maverick Carter. And you really believe that John Tay is the only one? Yeah, okay. I got some real estate to sell in the backyard if you believe that lie. Please. Sports betting is legalized when they want it to be and not when they don't want it to be. I'm not buying the one thing, but I think he'll be ready. Threat for what? To fall and flop? He sucked the other night. Threat to what? Oh God, that's what I can't stand about Laker fans. Y'all act like y'all don't have no flaws, man. Come on now. Like we must be watching two different TV sets. If them refs don't blow a couple calls and give them some plus sides, if I thought he was a threat, yes, could something happen? But it takes the refs to come in. It takes D'Angelo Russ to play out his mind and ruin all of them to play out their mind. They're not that good of a team. And I'm not saying it as a hater. As a basketball fan, they're not championship level basketball. I haven't seen it. I've seen glimpses of moments where they have some moments. I haven't seen anything that has told me that concrete. I say, oh yeah, I think this was a great team. I just don't see it. I mean, if I had to pick 5 teams to win the finals this year, they ain't in it. Denver comes up, Dallas might come up, Boston might come up because they had the refs on their side. That's why. They had the refs give them bailout games. How many bailout games they had? They had a bailout game just this last game. They were getting tore up in the paint. You don't win. You don't get no more free throws when you getting tore up in the paint. Miss me with that. Anthony Davis didn't even play that good. LeBron wasn't tearing up inside. How you get 30, 40 more, 10, 15 more free throws when you getting pounded in the glass? I told you before, and I'm going to say it again. Shaquille O'Neal didn't come through that door. And if Shaq was playing, I give you that. There's nothing between AD and LeBron that merits having 10 more free throws in a game than who you're playing against. I'm sorry, they just doesn't. There's nothing you can say. And it sure as heck wasn't the other night. That game should have gone to overtime at the very least. Can't have no 10, 15 more free throws and shoot 8 more than the team when you got out pounded in the glass. That don't even add up. When I was watching basketball with Phil Jackson and Pat Riley talking through the media, the team that dominated the paint got the calls. Not this, well, we going to give you this even when you're shooting perimeter shots. If a guy gets fouled, that's one thing. But they're calling way too much. It's way too one-sided. And they're not consistently, they're not a team that I buy. Just don't. In the bubble, I could say it because Rondo, Dwight, JaVale McGee, LeBron, AD. But it took a lot just to beat Denver with that. Because that was a close series. And then Jimmy Butler about waxed their butt. They got through Houston and OKC. That was relatively easy. Or was it Portland? I forgot. But anyway, they're not a, but they have not been, they look like a somewhat contending team the next year when they got knocked on the first. So LeBron got hurt against Phoenix. They have not been nowhere near that team since. Yes, they got to the Western Conference Finals last year. Strickland, he was a better scorer, post up. I liked his game. I like Rondo. Like Strickland was one of my favorite point guards. Rondo was one of the smartest guards, one of the smartest players, period. But he didn't have the kind of Like, if we're going by the skill set, he didn't have Strickland's skill set. Smart though, smart as any player I've ever seen, but with the bag, not the same because he couldn't even shoot. That didn't come till later in his career. He was self-service for a lot of his career. He was self-check. No one really gave Rondo no love for outside shooting. But he did other things, and he was a broke version of Magic and Jason Kidd when he could give you dimes, rebounds, assists, some steals. But he was a broke version because he didn't score. It wasn't until he got later in his career. But Strickland had, yeah, Strickland was a better player. Mark Price. Because the only thing that Mark Jackson did that I like is that he could pass, he had a little bit of a shot, and he shimmied on you. But Price had a spot up game. Price was nice. Price was nice. Not great though, but he was nice though. I liked him. But Mark Jackson was, again, it depends on what you're talking about. I watched that interview where he beat some dude on a pickup game. Yeah, he did, and he could pull up on you. He just didn't stay consistent, and he just didn't. But yeah, his game was nice. Mark had a lot of assists. You know, I think when he actually put more weight on, he got a little bit better with Indiana than he was with New York. But but he never was in that argument. He was a New York point guard, and that's what got him over more than anything. I think where he was from and where he played. Back in the day, they did. That don't work today. Back then, it did. Because guys had to have a bag. Tell it to LeBron James. If you could pump fake, you could get shots. You could pump fake, you could make cats bite. They had all kinds of tricks. Actually, to be honest with you, when Reggie Miller used to have the leg drag and the kick, and you had a pump fake, you could get guys biting a lot more. You can't get them like that today. Guys staying still like they're acting. They're almost like built-in actors. So for Cat, it blocks your shot today. He got to do it from like a side view. He don't even come at you. They had to have a bag. They had to have a bag. That one of the most offensive things. I know it's gonna be black. Yeah, LeBron James did offend me with that. How dare he say such a thing? Because guys had to have it. Like I saw Ray Allen had to have handles, move his feet, and do things and get back. It's not like that today. You just can't compare the two. It's just not the same. Thank you. And look at Dwayne Wade. Wade would shake you, bake you, take you, and then he come back and do you up. You don't see that today. Shoot. And look, the way they play defense today is the way these so-called producers make music. Like a cat like Pharrell, for instance, gives you a beat, or Timbaland gives you a beat. But where are the chords? Where's the vamp? Where's the bridge? Where's the solo? Where's the hook? They just go doom 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 boom 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 doom 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 boom boom doom. That's all you get. Back in the day, it was like doom 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 boom 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 doom 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 doom. That's what I'm talking about. It's like a groove. Somebody gonna come on here and think I'm making a song up, but anyway, that's how it was. The day is just one beat, one step, one drop, one cadence. That's all they do today. Who can't average 25 points today, pretty much? Thank you. That's why I did that video about Golden State and the Bulls. I was watching sports and fitness, and I did that video because I watched this video and I thought, yeah, if the Bulls play Golden State, what would be the difference? Because I had to really think and forget Jordan, Steph, forget Durant, Scotty. Yeah, you can do that today, and nobody cares. I remember if a cat scored 40 points, that was like news clippings. 50, that was going to be like a front page story. And if you scored 60 or so, that was headlines everywhere. Today, anybody does that. And if you're a G Leaguer scoring 50 on Detroit, they should sign you up for like a 5 year, $50 million guaranteed contract because Lord knows they need all the scoring they can get. They need all the scoring they can get. Because you know where I'm going with this. Dang. I think Isaiah Thomas right now could score about 3 without trying hard. I think Isaiah good for 3 right now. Zeke could come out and put 3 up right now. It's sad. They didn't fell off so bad. But they will be good in a few years. That's how the NBA is with Detroit. Detroit is always like that. Fall off for about 10, 15, and then come back when you least expect. Excuse me. Because it's been 20 years since they last won a chip. And before that, it had been 14 and 90. So they should be due for something. Somebody to come through for Detroit. They always got to have Detroit in the mix somewhere. You don't know if it's fixed or not, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I remember. I remember. But they ain't gonna have no loyalty no time soon because they suck. They are brutal. It's brutal there. I mean, they were on that long losing streak. You should be ashamed of yourself today's NBA. You can win 25 games without trying hard. So between Detroit and Washington, I don't know. But anyway. But yeah, back to what you were saying, you do have to have a bag. I mean, you had to back then. You today you can debate that, but if you wanted to be great back then, you had to. You had to. It wasn't hilarious. It was sad because they went out like they were arrogant and it was offensive. And I know Dan Campbell got this run and gun way, and I'm not going to be like my daddy in this way, but sometimes you got to use common sense. That was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. You had Purdy lost. You was up 24-7. You kick a couple field goals, you probably win the game by at least a touchdown, if not by 9 points. If they're being cute and you mess up, that's embarrassing. No lies told. No lies told. It's a different ball game today. These guys are like plants, and I watch it. I try not to. I can't even watch most games all the way through because I pretty much know the cadence, what's gonna happen. But the reason why the foreign players come out, they come up big because oh, did you hear what Victor Wimby said? Did you hear what he said about American women and French women? Did you hear what he said? He said that American women look like NBA young blood, and he said French women are soft or something. That's all over the net, yo. Yeah, I saw that last night. It came up on my they let him have it though. Yeah. 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 That's kind of like you remember CJ Stroud said that about Texas women and California women? He said Texas women is too big or something. And he said California women are just right. CJ Stroud said that too. But then I saw him up there with old sloppy third. Yeah, he do. I saw him up there with old sloppy third. Oh, what's that big butt white? The one that used to mess with Kanye. She was married to Future. Oh God, what's that trick's name? The bald head chick, big body butt. She been passed. She's 304. No, no, no. She's 304. Let me go look her up. Go look her up real quick. Nope. She's the bald head white chick. Let me look. Yep. There you go. Yep. Because they were at that. What was that? What was that? All Star game. Something was going on, And she came out with him. He's going to the car. Yeah, she had black. Okay, my bad. She had black. My bad. I forgot a little bit because I think the bald head is what made me think she was more white than she was black. But she is. But she's still 304. I don't care how you size it up. Whatever her racial background is, she's 304. Or she's 608. Take your pick. 608 or 912. Take your pick. She's double 304. That's all you need to know. Half the industry have been through that. The reason they not old, but they look old because they've been ran through. That's why. It's like they ran through like Larsa Pippen. It's ran through. That's what make you look old. Not that your age, but they're not old, but they ran through. That's when I be talking about 912 or 608. Stuff be getting ran through like a Mack truck been through that. Oh, slap it third. Slap it third. Got that forehead. Could be, but we'll never know. Because her mama gonna take that one to the grave. That's why she need to shut up about talking about him. If she do, she shouldn't say nothing. She knows she was around it. Could pay a resemblance. It's the forehead. That's what makes me think it's his. It's that forehead. She got that forehead. If you look at that forehead, she got that orange forehead like he did, like that potato head. He had a big old head. Oh, she had a trunk head. Yeah, I saw that. I seen that. But she looked like him. She looked more like him. She looked like him to an extent. But I try not to think about her though. I haven't heard anything about her lately. Like she's sick or something? Nah, I said she'll take that to the grave. I didn't say she goes to the grave. She'll take it to the grave. She ain't gonna ever admit that publicly. But I'm sure old Caitlyn knows though. I think that's one of the reasons why Caitlyn be hating on him. Because old Caitlyn knows that. Mm-hmm. It's just a real twisted situation between all of them though. Caitlyn, OJ, and Robert Kardashian. So it's a 3-ring circus. And I'm sure Chris did a 3-way. So there you go. That's what old freaks do. Kobe, because Iverson wasn't the shooter Kobe was. His handles were sick with that crossover and all that, but he really didn't have an ability, not because of size, it's just that he didn't utilize the floor and spacing as well as Kobe did. Kobe could get around, shoot wherever. And the thing about it is this the thing. Iverson had a chance to actually be as great as a scorer as Kobe because he got free throw line, he could create spacing. He just wasn't a better scorer shooter. But he got his shots off. He had ability to go to the hole. He was a 4-time scoring champion, so it's not like and this ain't the easy. It ain't as easy as you think because it ain't just about size. But Kobe had a better repertoire of utilizing his areas better. He did. He could go volume. So that's why. It's not a quick answer though, if you think about it. It's not quick. Pros at Steph Curry, college is Pistol Pete. Because Steph was able to utilize more because of the era he came in. And without a 3-point line, I can't really display. If I'm just going by the handles and what they did, Pistol Pete was more fun to watch, what he did with his ball work and movement. But Steph, when you can factor in the scoring and the shooting and the drive and everything, I give him that. But that's a tough one for me because that's the baddest white boy as far as handles I ever saw. In college, you can make the case he's one of the 3 greatest college players ever. You can make the case. And Lord knows if they had a white boy like him playing today, they would not. You think Caitlin Clark got some love? Pistol Pete would be like running for president. It's tough because I hold them both in high regard, but I got to give a slight edge to Larry Bird because he could play off the rock a bit better. That's the only reason why. And when I say play off the rock, he utilized himself in such a rotation that he moved. But if we're going by scoring, uh, agility, ability, it's pretty close. But Larry just had a little something extra where he played off the rock. I think his hustle is what I got to give a slight edge to. But that's a close one because Rick's a bad boy. Rick was a bad boy. You're a bad man when you go to free throw line and shoot underhanded, and people can't say nothing to you. They still hate him to this day. He a bad boy. And he is that white boy that's between Larry Bird and Jerry West as far as the greatest white players. I'm gonna be real. All the respect to George Milken and Dave Cowens and John Havlicek, but Rick Barry is that one, and Kevin McHale too. Rick Barry is that one. He's bad, bad to the bone. Well, I'm being honest when I say bags. I'm gonna say James Harden because the free throw line with the beard, everything he did offensively. And so you can have a better bag. That doesn't mean you're a better player, but a better bag, I'm gonna say Harden. Top of the key, better shooter, created foul, free throw shooting, scored at a high rate. He did that. And he's going to beat a lot of people because he was an incredible offensive force of what he did. Dwayne Wade could score with him, but he couldn't create those free throws and he couldn't shoot 3-pointers like him. You know, Harden was a high volume scorer, but he had, the fact. Harden, because he created the free throw. And he drew so much attention to what he was doing. I mean, that run where he had, I mean, again, his handles, he would that one step, drop step, throw that beard, get to the free throw line. That's not, but again, you asking me better bag, and I'm telling you that Harden had the better bag. I didn't say he was the better player. I said the better bag. Okay, did Kobe get to the free throw line as much as Harden? Could he hit you with a straight three or left and right? And they both had like a high scoring of 35 or more points per average in a season. Harden had uh he was borderline MVP where you almost couldn't argue because his team was winning. He got to the Western Conference Final with Dwight Howard, the white no scoring Howard. What else did he have? And you could make the case that if it wasn't for Steph Curry, Harden would have been that dude because the league the NBA players gave him a homemade MVP. Remember, and he did get a league MVP. He was a beast scoring. He could score. He could score. There was a time that the way he was scoring, they were putting him with Kobe and Jordan far as scoring goes. That left hand dagger was no joke. That stop-start move he did, switch up on you, could score, draw fouls with the beard. No, he ain't the same no more. No. He might have one out of body game every 5. He ain't the same dude no more. That dude left in Brooklyn. That dude's gone. But when he was in his peak in his prime, oh yeah, he was no joke. He was sick with it. He was sick. I want to say from what, 2014 or 2018? Yeah, he was sick. It's just that Steph won and was more dominant. That's all. And you don't win and you stat pad or you, as you brought it out, Kobe did it more in the clutch because his postseason, when he was drunk and he was at the strip club messing with a Kardashian and drunk and stumbling on his beard. But in the regular season, you can put Harden with a lot of greats. Stat wise, he was the king of stat padding. Are you kidding? I ain't gonna even take no nothing from him for that. Mm-mm. Yeah, I give him the bag over both of them. Because Kobe wasn't a pure could shoot like this guy could. This guy was lights out for a minute. And when you factor in, he could draw fouls. He had, but he was his own worst enemy. He started messing with them powdered donuts, and if he took care of him, so you want to talk about someone not taking care of this, there you go. So that's all I got to say about that. Oh man, you going? Okay, you went down tiers. Let's see. Who would I say? Mm. I'm gonna say Sam Cassell. I like the way he did certain things that he did overall with Houston and of course with Boston. I like the way I thought he had a right to be a coach as much as Chauncey. I thought he read the floor just as well. I think Chauncey hit his peak in his prime with Detroit, and I think that he got his shot and he came up with big shots, but I think Cassell did too. I think Sam handles was nice. I think that Sam moved me more. I'm gonna say Gervin because the finger roll and the way he could create and what he could do. Melo was a one-sided cat, literally, when he played, which he was strong and he could shoot and everything. He'd get his shots and all that. But Gervin, Iceman, with the finger roll, with the scoop, uh, what's happening, Tom? He moved me more. He moved me more. And you factor in there was no three-point line and what he did. Um, he moved me more. Melo was a great pure scorer and would have been probably the GOAT cherry picker that we talk about every night because nobody could sit on the side and hit you. And he wasn't no Bernard King. He was good at what he did. He wasn't no Bernard King. Well, the better bag for me with Gervin was the finger roll, the creativity, and the nuances that he put because he kept more pressure on you. And the bag also, it's like the styling, like who had the more. When you have a bag, the more things you can do, the more versatile that you are. You're not limited. See, to me, Melo, you put him up on the top right, hit that outside shot. That was he had a trademark shot. That's what he was known for. Gervin shoot inside out and that finger roll, and you had to respect his length. I mean, he could get you. You gotta remember in the era he came with no three-point line, hand checking, physical contact, and to score the way he did. I mean, he was a scoring machine, so it's hard to okay. Glad to see you, AG. Appreciate you. Thank you for comments. Now, Melo ain't seen no Bernard King. Bernard King was a freak, yo. Larry Bird called him the greatest offensive force he's seen. Oh, well, he mentioned him as a force. It's not the same. And I like Melo, but Melo wasn't no Bernard King. Okay, I will, Ted. Write that down now. That's what I'm saying. I never felt Melo was out of his world. You gotta remember Bernard King got hurt. You could imagine what he'd have been like with Patrick Ewing. Please. And I saw him when he was with the Washington Bullets in '87 with Moses and them. I was there with Jeff Malone. And that was on one leg, and he still was a bad dude. Should you take the legs out and the coke out, Bernard King would have been just bananas. I'm just gonna keep it 100. I am Mello. Don't put me in a firm amount of B King. I'm gonna put it to you like this: when Bernard King got out the league, people were sad. Melo played the last 4 or 5 years. People didn't even clap when he scored 25,000 points. Thank you. Melo had his best run in Denver, and he was a model in New York. That's how I can best I could say. He showed. That's what Larry Bird said. That's what Larry Bird gave him high remarks. That's why I can't put him. That's why I can't have no Melo in the same sentence with him. Mm-mm. Yeah, it's just that, like I said, he got hurt, and we'll never know what that could have been like. Because Bernard King went hard, yo. Cats don't understand. Cats used to go hard, get banged, they went at it. That dude was so is eruption, because of his career not getting, staying consistent. That's why we don't put him on the Mount Rushmore. So my all-time NBA dunk guys is Vince Carter, Dominique, Dr. J, and then I guess Jordan. And when I say I guess Jordan's hang time and movement, especially in game, I love. But David Thompson, somehow you want him on that list, though. I mean, he was a freak, and like I said, the drugs and the living, but he was a freak. Gale Sayers is in my top 5 NFL running backs ever. Funny you mentioned that. I have O.J. Simpson, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers. Those are my top 5 running backs ever. Except Gale Sayers got hurt, but if you ever saw that one game where he scored 6 touchdowns, and he did it different ways. His athleticism, his speed, he was a freak. He was amazing. He's in my top 5 ever running backs. He don't get forgotten. He don't belong with them guys, but he's top. I'd say near top 10 or somewhere between 10 to 20 in that range. No, the guy that gets forgotten. If you want to know who gets forgotten, the guy who gets forgotten for me at a running back is Tony Dorsett. That's who gets forgotten. That dude ran the prettiest strides I've ever seen. Dorsett was like, it just was quick and smooth. Yeah, he did. He did. But then again, Bo Jackson, but yeah, he did. And I was a big Marcus Allen fan. And Marcus was OJ 2.0. He mimicked him. He wore the number. The juke that he did in the Super Bowl against Washington was textbook OJ. Earl does too. Because his best days were in Houston. He went to New Orleans. It was kind of like an afterthought. But he was something else. His peak, his prime. He was a physical beast. I mean, everybody who gets excited about Marshawn Lynch, respectful, and Derrick Henry, but Earl Campbell was like a freight. Knocked your butt out. He did well. Again, the racism in the NFL. And by the time Moon got to Houston, Earl got packed to New Orleans. God, yep, that dude was a freak. He saved John Elway's behind, and he made Mike Shanahan credible. Yeah, he was. I like Green. I liked him, and he had a run. Sean Taylor was a bad dude. He was bad. Sad how it ended too. Even sadder was that statue of him in Washington, because you think the Iverson one was garbage, the Sean Taylor one was like deplorable. He didn't really fit in Buffalo, not because of the races, but he just didn't really fit. His style didn't really fit. That's why when he got to Seattle, it was a greater fit for him. He was nice, but he wasn't their answer, and they didn't have the right quarterback. Seattle worked out for him, but yeah, I remember what he said. Buffalo is a racist place. I lived there. I don't think it's the fans that ran him out. I just don't think the team wanted to rally around him. Believe me, when they want to rally around you, they make it happen. He was in a no-win situation, and they weren't that. And Trent Edwards was the quarterback, and then they stunk. They took a while, so he fit in where he bought, and I had no problem with high school return on Seattle. It wasn't like we let one get away. He just didn't fit with the team. Sometimes it be that way. Yeah, he had an outer body for a moment, then he stunk, but it just didn't fit. That's the sad part. And they went through a lot of scrub quarterbacks. They were cursed, but they brought that on themselves when they were the Rob Johnson, Doug Flutie era. But you were real young. That whole thing with Tennessee and that was a mess. EJ was marginal. He was third tier. Tyrod Taylor was second tier. They just went and they had Ty Collins. He was a buster. That was after Jim Kelly. It was horrible. Went through a lot of JP Lossman was horrible. Okay. That mess is why we were behind the eight ball for 20 years because half the locker room wanted Doug Flutie, the other wanted Rob Johnson. And so football is a very non-forgiving sport. You make a mistake like that, it's almost like you're cursed. And that's what happened to the Bills. And that took them till Andy Dalton won that game for Cincinnati and Josh. That was until they played Jacksonville in that playoff game. It took them almost 20 years to get to the playoffs. That's how bad it was. And then I get over Wade Phillips for that because we could have won that game. And I felt whoever won that game was going to go to the Super Bowl. And Tennessee did get to the Super Bowl. So it was a disaster. So, but anyway, he just didn't work out in Buffalo. And, yeah, when you can factor in his defensive coordinating skills, he is. Flutie came up big, especially when he came back to Buffalo. He's one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite Bills ever. I had a box. Had a Canadian woman give them to me too. I don't think I ever opened them either. But it became a battle of odds. That's what happened. And he went to the Chargers, and then he beat us against Rob Johnson, and I was so mad and depressed with that mess. Well, I remember that game with Boston College. That was 40 years ago. Do that Hail Mary at the end of the game. But when he came to the NFL, he was too short, too small. He played for the Bears. That was back, but they was blocking and knocking his shots back. But that was, his mobility, his movement. So he went to the Canadian Football League. Yeah, they hyped his tight butt up. His tight behind didn't do nothing. He became a backup in Tampa Bay. He got a ring there when they beat the Raiders. And I was just so sad. So the Bills were in stankuary at quarterback till Josh Allen came. Oh, excuse me. We went through some real dogs. And as a matter of fact, Josh almost didn't work out because Matt Barkley was the backup for us and he stunk. So, and then of course, the great Nate Pearlman. Oh, God. That's in the last 5 years. That turkey. That turkey make Rob Johnson look like um, Brad Johnson. I mean, and they sure couldn't pick quarterbacks. So, well, compared to, yeah, when you consider what we had at quarterback, I mean, if you're talking about Rob Johnson, J.P. Losman, come on now, E.J. Manuel. Oh, I remember it like yesterday because, yeah, he threw that off the back foot. He got all of it in there. That's when college football had you hyped. That's when there was some upsets. Ain't nothing like that today. Excuse me. But that was a different era. Well, I'm not gonna get carried away with Josh, but I'm gonna say that he came up big, but now it's getting kind of old because now he found 5, 6 different ways of losing the playoffs every year. So that hero worship might have to kind of take a back seat. The way he lost to Jacksonville, the way he was okay. The way he lost to Houston wasn't okay. The 3 different ways to Kansas City and Cincinnati not okay. So it'll only hurt if they don't utilize their full tools on offense. But I think it's not going to hurt as much as people think in the sense of Diggs wasn't a factor in the postseason. And then once they started going multi slots, it's going to come up against certain teams that hurt, not against. But yeah, so They did. They did run more. It's just that they let Josh run a lot of naked bootlegs. That's all. Yeah, he's a diva, but I ain't got no problem with him. Sean McDermott got out coached. You can call him a name. I can call him a name, but was he wrong? Nope. They got against Cincinnati, got punched in the mouth, got their lunch money took, and they didn't have no answers for Cincinnati bullying them. So I can't find fault. He dropped the ball against Kansas City, but that's not why they lost that game last year. So two things can be true at the same time. He can be a diva, but they got out coached. And that's a fact. And he should be on the hot seat. Shoot. He lost to Jacksonville. Okay, we'll give you a pass on that, but that choke against Houston, okay. But then you done lost three different ways to Kansas City. And then you got manhandled by Cincinnati. So you done lost 6 playoff games, and you only got one AFC championship game to show for your run. Stockpiling AFC East flags, but I'd say most are. But there's some that are more worse than others, though, with how they go about it. Some don't mind if you get touches. Some got a problem if you get too many attention. So it's it's a game within a game. So yeah, it's like with anything. As long as the money's green and right, people will tolerate. They tolerate as long as you bringing it. But if you just got an attitude and you just stank and you ain't hitting, it's gonna be short lived. So you know, depends on who we talking about, where it's going to. Yep. Who? Cooper Cup? You talking about Cooper? I wouldn't associate Cooper Cup as a diva. He gets his head down. He gets the job done. Yep. Good analogy, Ted. That's true. Cause and also the other thing that he would do, he was slick with it. He would bark at teams because either the quarterback wasn't to standards like Jeff Garcia, so he could get loud. No, Cooper's not. But I think the league then kind of caught up with him because that's why they went and got that rookie last year. And I think somehow they're not throwing the ball to him like they did now. So I don't know why stat pad, and I don't know why uh 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 um um uh coach McKay, why ain't you? I don't understand the way they're not utilizing it. I don't understand. I understand what they play calling last year. But yeah, To with Dallas, it became a sideshow, in Buffalo's and all that stuff. That had nothing to do about speaking your mind. He would also utilize it against when he had Jeff Garcia or quarterback who picked that were tiers below. That's the only downside. I don't say anything about speaking his mind. It's just the way he would go about his cadence with certain things. He did use it to manipulate too. I never had a problem with him voicing, but he also knew who to go with it with. Well, Chad didn't fit with New England. Ocho was not a good fit for the Patriots. I never understood why he went there and why they picked him. His style was not Patriot conducive. He was a sprinter who ran a certain post. He played in New England. That was not his style. So Speaking your mind, I had no problem with it when it came to Donovan McNabb and then how he got out of going to Baltimore. But then a lot of times he became like a jock rider because he ended up going to Dallas, which Parcells didn't want him. And Tony Romo was just not mentally equipped to deal with it. And then he went to Cincinnati and he went to Buffalo and just was like, no. But when he spoke out to Stephen A. and Max Kellerman, I was cool with it, you know. So so speak your mind, but you back it up. That's all I'm gonna say. And sometimes it came incomplete. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really even like to even think about that because it's sad to see a guy chasing. And when I saw Shaquille O'Neal chasing in Boston, that was deplorable. I don't like to see a guy that's great have to go think he got to go chase another. But there are guys. I'm trying to think who was the last washed that I saw that was chasing lately. Hmm, but I don't like to see it. But the league keeps guys around for years, and so cats say they can. There's truth to that. It's sad when it's a great player because like it's a great player, and then you're doing like Linsanity, and then it's like you. But there's no loyalty in sports either. So, hey, but it is strange to see a guy rocking Muller when Dwayne Wade went from Miami to Chicago to Cleveland. That just felt wrong. So I got nothing to say about Aaron Rodgers as far as that because he's only with two teams. The thing with the Jets is that he got ran out, but it's all he's done. I had no problem with that because they were a championship team. He did a play on the team and he did fit. But it goes back to what I said. While he was a head and shoulders above Teddy Bruschi, Bruschi was a better fit with New England. But I had no problem with him playing with New England because he actually did contribute. I don't give Aaron no excuses. That Jets thing, he like he got an old man injury. I really believe because he basically sacked himself, fell on his butt. I don't give him no excuses. I think it's going to be a situation where he'll be lucky if he can play another year. So, so Aaron Rodgers is one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen, but he's also one of the most overrated quarterbacks I've ever seen too. So I need to see more proof. I'm tired of the hype with him, and there've been a lot of people that slurp him and oh yeah, he's talking about the government created HIV. That's his latest rant. He spends a lot of time talking. See, the problem I have with that is it's close because if you use the ring as your criteria, but it's not like it's close. It's close. I hate this one of them situations where I hate to say you had to been around to know. Marino was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. And I believe if he had the opportunities that Aaron Rodgers had, he'd have been more dominant. That's a good one. He needs his mental, but he needs well, no, because a lot of his games were just mental. Me and Ted talk about all the time. Why he didn't beat Seattle, I mean, that alone is one of the reasons why I can't, you know, showboat. Um, Nothing. I mean, it's life sometimes just there's mistakes made, there's relationships made, but I can't really, I don't know. It's hard to say because sometimes your destiny has to play out the way it's supposed to. So I can't really say. It's a good question, but different things that are triggered that they kind of go where they're supposed to. I don't really get asked that, but I don't really have no problem with answering it. You have to go through life, you know. You have things to get you. Um, to a certain that we do. You know, you have to, within good reason, you have to spiritually find your foundation. I'm not saying you have to be religion or preach, but most of it is written. It's like uncharted territory. While we think what we do, while we walk like we walk, while we talk like we talk, while we hear what we hear. But there's a spiritual path that we choose, and there's certain choices that we make. Well, I mean, we all have things that we would do differently to an extent, but at the same time, you got to go through it to get to where you're going. It's like when people became saved, spirit biblically with the church, um, they had to go to where they are to get to that point. So if that meant they had to have a swear jar, if that meant that they had to have a discipline to avoid being addicted to different vices, that's what you have to do to get to that point. That's what it ends up meaning. You just don't wake up one day and be pitch perfect. And I'm going to say it the best way I know how to say it, the only way I will say it. The day you got it all figured out, not half of it or 75 of it, or you really got it figured out, is the day that your time is up. There are things that I'm smart with and there are things that I'm lost. So I still got 50% to learn. And then there's 25 digesting. That's a good way of putting it. That's a great way to put it. Great way of putting the destruction of our demise. Yeah, well, they been need to rebuild. Jimmy Butler is not going to get any better. He is what he is. Bam is what he is. So you have to decide where you want to go. I know the obvious elephant in the room because I follow Pat Riley forever and a day. He's always looking for that big fish. He's looking for someone that'll shake and bake. And they need something like that to strike lightning in them. So that's the problem they run into. They don't have that. There's nobody out there that they could get at this stage. That would be a turning point. Well, he been getting old, you know. He wasn't that memorable last year in the finals. The Jimmy Butler in 2020 part, Rachel Nichols, what have you, was looking like something. But he didn't have a lot of wear and tear on him. So he was hurt, but I just don't think that I'm not just gonna use it to hurt. He just ain't that dude that they you gotta have a certain type of player to win championships. And you gotta have a pit bull leader. And he gives you everything, but he just ain't a superstar. That's all. They could be my dangerous team in the West. They could be. Because if Cat comes back and score and Gobert does his thing and Conley slept on and Ant goes off, who's gonna want to have to deal with them second, third round? The West is getting more dangerous, and I'm for it. I just don't want to see no fixes with the refs and nothing. I want to see the new teams emerge. I would have no problem with Denver, OKC, Dallas, Minnesota, Final Four, because I think that's the best teams going in the West. And Dallas, Denver, Minnesota, OKC. I'd be happy with that. Because to me, those are the best teams in the West. Everybody else is second tier, and dangling is third. I said OKC, but they need to get scoring. They need to make the scoring load easier for them. They could get hot. They are the number one seed. You know, I don't have no problem if they do. I'm not the one that's stuck on the O. He ain't the answer though. He can score, but he ain't the answer. Cause I'm gonna tell you something. They ain't gonna want to hear what I say, but if Kevin Durant was Cashmere King, if Kevin Durant was available, that would be what they could use. They just need somebody to score. That's all they need. Shoot, Bradley Beal would be scary there. Somebody can score 25, 30 points a game, cherry pick, don't have to really be dependent on nothing else. Chat's nice. But I don't think he's the great now yet. They need a score. They still need another score. That's the only thing I think they're missing. We'll see what they got. We'll see what they got. We about to find out who they play in the first round. So, out of Sacramento or New Orleans, I think they'll play Sacramento. That's going to be a bar burner too. You got that right. You can say that again. If you don't say nothing else correct tonight, which I doubt, you could give yourself a star for that one. You ain't never lied. We live in an era now. There are no role players, but there's plenty of cherry picking. And if you can hit shots, you'll be treated like a superstar. You ain't got to do nothing. Well, you got a feeling that Boston and OKC gonna play in the finals. You must know something I don't. If those two teams played in the finals, I would have to say Boston should win. That don't mean that I'd be going for Boston though. But they should win though. Could happen. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. I have no problem if it do. I'm not Adam Silver. I'm not a Lakers fan. My Miami Heat ain't gonna hardly. They might even make the playoffs. I'm like Jim Moore. Playoffs. I don't have a dog in the race because I don't think my team is gonna get nowhere. So I don't have a dog in the race. I'm not the one that's, you know. If you expect me to get upset or say something, I won't. As a matter of fact, I would welcome it. See, I'm not like one of those cats that say, "Get off my lawn. You're not worthy." I'm just the opposite. I'm in the era where it don't bother me. because I look at the NBA, it is parity driven, but they need to make it parity driven. They don't need to be acting like they're trying to give a team more free throws or more opportunities because the team is old and they're trying to save face. Let the games play like they're supposed to. And if we don't have agenda based basketball, you could get in the finals like that if there's no agenda. And see, you messed up. We were just having a good conversation. Make up your mind. You said the Celtics going to beat OKC. Now you're jumping on this. I don't know which way you're going, Cashmere King. They don't look like they're going to win nothing. They look like the league wants them to win. They don't look like they're going to win nothing. I have not had any evidence that show me that they look like they could win. I don't see nothing that tells me they can beat the Denver Nuggets. Because you got somebody in here lying to you. That's why. Oh, this might be my time to go because I mean, I can't be this outnumbered. I mean, where are the basketball heads at? They haven't beaten them yet. And I think you're disrespecting no Jokic. I think it's a diss. You act like that team ain't the world champions. Y'all sound like y'all been watching too much Nick Wright. I don't know where y'all come from with this mess. I don't see it. You're dissing Jamal Murray. You're dissing Porter. You're dissing Aaron Gordon. You know. I can't see a team that's been mediocre to me winning a championship. They too streaky. The powers that be want them to go there because they got an agenda. Hmm. What he say about her booty or something? He said something derogatory. He be trolling. He just got some chick pregnant too. I don't really pay him no mind. He's so busy dancing and snorting. I don't know what he be saying. Okay, I'll check it out. Sometimes you know, sometimes I make comments about that. Sometimes I don't. It depends if I think there's some bite to it. Yeah, I know that. I seen her and him about a few months ago. They've been performing. She looked good too. He finally sealed the deal because they were messing around back in the day. He finally came back. I don't know why he let it go either. She was always thick. And her mama bad too. Her mama bad too. Talking about Ashante. Mama bad. I like AK. Imagery wise, Ashante. More thicker. Imagery wise, Ashante got beat. But AK is close though. It's close. Okay, everybody's got some chimes, and I think if I was a betting man, I'd say Denver and Dallas are my favorite teams to come out the West. Because Ted convinced me about Dallas, and I give him a props on that. That I agree. After Denver, it's probably Dallas. But I wouldn't have no problem with OKC, and I wouldn't have no problem with Minnesota. That's it. Just them four teams. Everybody else, I'm suspect on. I'm not sold on the Lakers. I'm not sold on Sacramento. I'm not sold on Phoenix or New Orleans. I told you there's four teams in the West that I'm sold on. But I think two of them would be ready. I think Denver and Dallas would be ready. But there's only four teams that I'm like I would say like that about. And I'm not sold on the Clippers. So you give me the four teams I mentioned, that's it. Everybody else is too streaky for me. And I'm only really sold on Denver and Dallas this year. Next year, OKC and maybe Minnesota. I got two for sure, and then two are close. Everybody else after that is streaky. But in the off season, if the Rockets make a move, they're gonna be a problem. They could be a problem. They could be a play-in tournament team next year. There are gonna be some teams you better keep an eye on. That's one of them. Well, he will have Cat back, and he will have, you know, and he will have Gobert and Conley. So, you know, so. But I'm not like I said. Realistically, Denver, Dallas is the two that I'd say, and then I'd say OKC, Minnesota is my next two out the West. That's it. Neither LA team, nor Phoenix, nor Sacramento. Not buying them. I don't feel them. Now I'll say this to give y'all some hopes. The Lakers got to play incredible basketball, play some incredible defense, and tighten up and play and not get hurt. And D'Lo would have to be crazy. Reeves would have to be crazy. Rue would have to be crazy. They have to have their bench up on another gear. For Phoenix to win, their big three would have to step up. They'd have to play better defense. Their bench would have to come up. Frank Vogel would have to remind you why he was a defensive coach. For the Clippers, they'd have to be healthy. Paul George would have to be big. Westbrook would have to be big. Harden have to be big. Kawhi got to play somewhere. And for I mentioned those three. Who else did I forget? I forgot who I forgot. I mentioned. Oh yeah, and for Sacramento, they got to play some better defense. Wemby's prime won't be for about 3 or 4 years, but I always tell Ted that not this coming year, but next year, his third year, I expect him to be playoff bound. He'll be better this year, and with each passing, he'll get better. But his peak prime will be his fourth, about his fifth, sixth year. I think by his fifth, sixth year, he's gonna be running the league. So about if he's healthy and motivated after this year, next year, I think by his fourth, fifth year, watch out. But somebody's gonna blow up. It's either gonna be him. If Zion is for real, it could be him. It's gonna be one of them cats. And I'm gonna tell you something. The West is gonna be it's gonna be tough because you got a lot of fresh cats that are young. You got a lot of great teams, talent teams. You got a lot of talents. I ain't say great teams, but you got a lot of talent that Jokic ain't gonna have, but probably this year and next year. to inflate his will. So he get him another ring, 2 or 3 rings. But I'm telling you, it's gonna be some. It's gonna definitely be a battle because teams aren't behind the 8 ball like they were. No one saw SGA coming out, so it's gonna be a lot more coming to the party. I think you will see the parity of the West. I think you're gonna see the parity in the East. So, well, yeah, we know that. You get rid of that owner, you get a lot more help. I already told you about that. You get him out there, you definitely get help. You don't get no help as long as he's the owner. You're never gonna get what you need with that. Tomorrow night, I'm gonna definitely be on a little bit earlier for sure. I'll try to get back tonight a little bit early. Got a little bit on later, but tomorrow for sure, definitely get on. Silver Slipper? What you mean? If he can get, um, if he can get, if they can get somebody to come through, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't trust Adam Silver, so you know how I feel about him. He a funny dude. We'll see how it play out though. Not now they won't. Now if they gotta play Miami, they won't. And they're gonna beat Chicago. They're not gonna lose. If they lose in the first round, then everybody gets licked. Then they're gonna break that team up. They're not losing the first round. Powers that be want them in the finals. They're not losing. And the only team that gets in their way is Philly. So I think they beat the Knicks. If Embiid is playing good, but it a lot depends. Oh, they're going to cheat for him because Tatum is their moneymaker. So, but anyway, we'll see how it plays out. So, I'm not talking about Victor no time with all that because they're nowhere close to that. They're a 30, 25 win team. If the 20 win team right now, so we don't even talk like that. They need a lot of work. But give me about 2 or 3 years from now, He'll be building a playoff resume. Gives a piece here, a piece there. Stay healthy, stay motivated. We can talk. I'm not going to entertain, you know, 20-win team. I'm not getting, it's not get carried away. He has potential, but it's not like he's coming to the Spurs like Tim Duncan did with Dave Robinson on the wing and Sean Elliott and Avery Johnson and those guys. And, you know, uh, second year he won it all. I don't see the Spurs win it all next year. But I do think he will be better. I think they will be near a plan. And by his third year, I expect them to be a really loaded playoff team. And his third year onward, I don't expect anything less than fifth or sixth seed. So, but we'll see how it turns out. I see the upside, but the West is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And call me jaded, I just don't see no low tier teams coming out the West because the West is too good on the top. It's too top heavy. If something fluky does happen, it'll be a 1 year done thing. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there won't be, it's going to be these young teams are going to emerge. That's why I said, and I've done videos where I say LeBron, Steph, Kawhi, Durant, y'all were great, but you didn't have your day. So, anyway, I'm going to get ready to roll because I go eat. I will be back tomorrow. Appreciate everybody that came through. Peace. Appreciate the questions. We had a great live stream. Looking forward to, everything tomorrow. Thank you always. Stay up, stay blessed, stay safe, stay safe, stay warm, stay cool. Appreciate you. Good night. Peace.